Hey everyone, Mr. Messia here, back with another guide. This time we're taking a look at round 3 of the 2026 Manufacturers Cup, which takes place at Deep Wars with the Group 3 cars. Luckily, the strategy for this one is going to be a lot more straightforward compared to the one at Dragon Control Garden, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So this race is a 20 lap race where only the racing medium tires are allowed to be used. Fuel is a ×2, which fuel is still not an issue, but the tire wear is a ×4, and depending on the strategy that you use, tire wear can become an issue. So there is a mandatory pit stop, as I mentioned earlier, which means you either want to take tires or you don't want to take tires. That's basically the main strategy here. If you do decide to take tires, then your pit window is basically going to be laps 9 or 10, so around halfway into the race. In these clips that you see right now, I'm doing the one stop where you do change the tires, as this one's going to be a lot more straightforward. If you and your car are not that good on taking care of your tires, then this is probably going to be the strategy that you'll be picking. And there are a couple of things that we do need to talk about as well, because Deep Forest Raceway has 2 long back straights, which means there's going to be a lot of opportunities to take advantage of the slipstream and potentially bump draft other people around. So if you work together with other people, you guys will be going a bit faster compared to just driving by yourselves, which means you can get faster lap times. And especially if people ahead start to really fight it out, then you guys have the possibility to catch up to the next group of cars. But do be aware that because you'll likely be taking advantage of slipstream or bump drafting, you are going faster, which means you will need to brake a bit earlier than usual, because if you're taking advantage of slipstream or bump drafting and you use your usual braking point, you risk either going off the track, or if there's a poor soul ahead of you, you might punt them into the next galaxy. And before I forget, I've been getting asked a couple times about the brake balance. Right now, I'm just leaving it at 0 just so I can see what the tower looks like as the race goes on. So I just want to point that out. So we're at the end of lap 10, and you can see the tower on the lower left hand corner of the screen where there is a bit of tire wear, but it's not an issue just yet. I still have to be a little careful about how I'm driving, because if I mess it up, the tower is going to exaggerate it a bit, which means I'll get worse lap times. So not too much of an issue, but I still have to be careful. But end of lap 10, finally going into the pit stop to get a tire change. So with the tire change, the pit loss is going to be about 17 seconds. To compare with a stop and go, the stop and go gets a 13-second pit loss, so the difference here is 4 seconds. And the thing here is that yes, you do lose 4 seconds compared to those that do not do the tire change, but you have fresh tires, and because your car is also a bit lighter due to the amount of fuel used, your car is also going to be a bit faster, and the tires will wear out a bit slower, which means that it is going to be possible to go even faster compared to your first stint. And the best thing about the one stop with the tire change is that if you and your car are not that good on tire management, you don't have as much to worry about, because halfway into the race you're getting new tires. So in my first stint, I was getting 127s and then 128s with the tire wear slowly kicking in, but in this run, once again, because I have new tires and I have less fuel, which makes the car lighter and faster, I'm only going to be getting 127s throughout the second stint, compared to the run where I don't do a tire change, where that one the times are slowly getting worse because the tire wear is slowly starting to kick in, and it's slowly getting worse and worse. So I believe in this lap, which is my best lap throughout the entire run, I ended up getting a 127.6. So again, this is thanks to me getting new tires, the car having less fuel, so the car is a bit lighter, it's a bit faster, and yeah, I don't have to worry about tire wear, which is great, because yeah, I'm not the best when it comes to tire wear management. But again, do be aware that when you're doing the actual race, there is a chance that you'll be slipstreaming and bump drifting around, so the times are going to be a lot quicker compared to doing the laps by yourself. So let's see what time we end up getting. A 127.614, so just shy of a 127.5. So skipping over towards the end of the race, there is a bit of tire wear, but it's still not that big of an issue. So again, I don't have to worry that much about tire wear, unless if I'm drifting around, but I'm not trying to do that. But in this run, a one stop with a tire change, I ended up finishing with a total time of 29 minutes and 37 seconds. So what if I told you that throughout my testing, the tire change run was faster by about 2 seconds compared to the no tire change run? So this is going to be pretty similar to that of the tire change run. The only main thing is that I pit on lap 10 and I don't change tires. That's basically the main difference. And as you saw right there, I got a track limit penalty. So that is one thing that you will also have to be careful of throughout the race, where there are certain corners like this corner right here where it's really easy to just poke a bit too far inside past the solid white lines and pick up a track penalty. So you serve the penalties further up, so where the second tunnel is, and even a half-second penalty is going to hurt you quite a bit, so try not to get any penalties. But we're skipping over towards the end of lap 10, so again, there's a bit of tire wear, not too much of an issue just yet, and this time I am not going to do a tire change. So the pit loss here is about 13 seconds, so 4 seconds faster compared to that of the tire change. But the main thing here is that tire wear is slowly going to become more and more of an issue as the race goes on. So you might be able to jump a couple cars with this strategy, but then the question becomes, will you be able to defend it as the other cars that do the tire change slowly catch up to you? And as the tires wear out more and more, it's slowly going to become more difficult to defend your position. And it doesn't help that with the too long back straights, if those that get the tire change done get your slipstream, then they're going to quickly catch up to you, and it's going to make your life a bit harder to defend your position. And the thing is that right now I'm getting 128.2s, whereas with the other run I was getting 127, so I think it was about half a second difference if I remember correctly. So they're slowly catching up, and it's not going to help if they're working with other people to catch up to you as well. So we're going to go ahead and skip over towards the end of lap number 19, start of lap number 20 out of 20, where tire wear is a bit of an issue now. The car is still drivable, but you are losing enough time to where that little bit of time that you lose throughout the second stint, it slowly adds up enough to make a difference. So here I'm close to losing 1 second per lap, but luckily I wasn't able to get to that point yet. But again, it's enough for it to make a difference, whereas with the one stop with the tire change, I was still doing 127s. And especially with these worn tires, I have to be even more careful with how I'm driving, because if I make a little bit of a mistake, the car or the tires will exaggerate it, which means I'm going to be losing even more time. So just trying to be really careful through here. This corner was where I would often have the car slipping out quite a bit, so I am trying to be a bit more careful about that, especially with these worn tires. And again, the car is still drivable with this tire wear, but you have to be a lot more careful with how you're driving so you don't make a mistake and the tires don't exaggerate it. So in this run, I believe this was the run where the AI card got in the way, so I ended up losing 1 second. So I am going to take off 1 second from the total time that the game mentions. And with this run, without the AI interfering, I ended up getting a 29 minutes and 39 second run, so about 2 seconds slower compared to that of the tire change run. So it is possible to do a no tire change run, but you have to rely on you and your car being good on your tire wear management, and even then the tire wear can become enough of an issue to where you become a bit of a sitting duck. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and do a quick lap guide. So this is especially important when you're trying to get your qualifying lap started. You can go a bit wide on the hairpin, that way you give yourself a slightly better line to get your faster exit out of the really sharp hairpin. After that, it's flat out until we reach the first turn. So flat out to here, easy flat out, no need to worry about lifting off our throttle or anything like that. Go ahead and bring yourself towards the right side of the track, and your first braking point is just after the curb on the right starts before the 100-meter board. You're going to use all of your braking power and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in. So turning in at around the 50-meter board, down to first gear for more rotation, but exit on second gear if you are in the Porsche. So nice and careful getting back on the throttle so the car doesn't step out on you, and bring yourself towards the left. You're going to use this sign on the left as a cue to turn in. So right after you pass it, that is where you turn in and ease off our throttle. So you're just trying to maintain your momentum, get back on the throttle for a brief moment, and before the grass on the left ends, that is where you slowly start to turn in and use a little under 50% of your braking power. Avoid the curves on the left because that can upset the car. And just as a curb on the left ends, that is where you want to use around 50% of your braking power, go down to the second gear and slowly apply the throttle. Just after the tunnel ends, that is where you want to use around 50% of your braking power and slowly start to turn in. So you will be doing a bit of trail braking, just trying to be really careful easing back on the throttle because here it's really easy to spin out. Now be careful about going all the way to the left because it is possible to get a track limit penalty. So yeah, you want to be careful right here. Don't go all the way to the left. So here it is flat out for a brief moment until you reach the apex of this mini right turn where you want to use a little bit of your braking power and try to hug the left side of the track. So 50% braking power, hug the left side of the track, get back on the throttle, bring yourself towards the right, and brake right as the bridge starts. So here you'll be using all of your braking power, go down to first gear for more rotation, but exit on second gear, hit the apex and slowly get back on the throttle, and make sure that your left wheels do not pass the solid white line before the red and white curb starts, because if you do that, you risk getting a track limit penalty, and you're definitely going to feel it whenever you have to serve that penalty. So for a while it is going to be flat out, and here in the second tunnel, here is the penalty serving zone. So yeah, if you have a penalty, you serve it here and it's definitely going to sting. So your final braking point is right as you're about to go under the Gran Turismo banner. So you're going to use all of your braking power, turn in when the curb on the right is just about to end, ease off of the brakes to let the car rotate a bit better, get the car pointing towards the next section of the track, and carefully fully accelerate your way out, and it's flat out for the rest of the lap. And that is going to be it for this lap guide, getting a 126.690. Nice. But that's all for me. Good luck with this round. This is Mr. MCA, and I'll see you in the next video.